Good evening and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. Now the topic today is when should I leave my spouse? Now I think marriage is the most important relationship in your life, and because of this neither I nor anyone else can decide for you whether or not you should leave your spouse, and it's an extremely personal and individual decision. But this question of should I leave my spouse is asked by many on a daily basis, whether it's to a friend, a family member, or even a counsellor. So on today's show I'll be sharing some points with you. And if you have this dilemma and you're fighting for your marriage, or you don't know whether to fight for it or give up, maybe you can consider some of these before making your decision. Joining me tonight, I have three people from the general public. We have Beverly Butler, and also we have Tony and Moira Julian. They all had this relationship dilemma, and they'll be talking about the decision they came to and how it has impacted their life. Also joining me, I have a counselling therapist, Michelle Bassam from Harley Therapy, who'll be sharing her professional views. And later on, we'll also be featuring a lovely place to visit in London that also doubles up as a good cause and is absolutely free. I'll be answering a question from a viewer in a dilemma, and you'll also have a chance to win a free three-course meal for two by answering a simple question. You can also participate in the show. Are you considering leaving a partner? Have you left the partner already? How are you coping? Give us a call on 020-7686-6300 or email chris@chrissybshow.tv. Now, I think that the first question you need to ask yourself in making a decision, especially if you're a woman and you have children and everything, is your life or your child's life at risk due to the behaviour of your partner? Is there violence, aggression, crime, etc.? So we're going to talk about this with my guests. I have Beverly here and also Michelle. Good evening. Thanks for joining me.
Hi. Good evening.
So Michelle, can you just tell us what you do briefly?
I'm a counselling psychologist at Harley Therapy. I deal with many issues, but obviously a lot of relationship issues, and pre-marriage and obviously during the marriage in respect to are they going to stay together, dealing with certain issues, may it be violence, may it be drug abuse or affairs, and see how things can actually mend, or being good parents apart and learning how to part nicely and sensibly if possible.
And obviously when it comes to love, like emotions are quite heightened, aren't they? So it must be quite difficult to maybe sit down with a couple that are going through problems, but obviously you've got a lot of experience in it, so hopefully you'll be shedding some light on the topic tonight as well, and helping couples that are watching as well.
Yeah, it'll be a pleasure.
Okay, so Beverly, now I know you've gone through quite a hard time, haven't you, in your love life.
Yes,
can you tell us how it all started?
Yes. Going back to when I was very young, 17, I met my then partner, got engaged at the age of 19, and then we just had a big wedding. But before that happened, my father wasn't for the relationship. He'd already decided that he wasn't the right person for me.
Any reason for that, or
well,
at
the time, he just thought he didn't think he was the right one, and we just assumed that because I'm the eldest and I'm the eldest daughter.
Daddy's girl.
Yes, so he was being overprotective. Mom was more relaxed about it, but my father was a little adamant, and then eventually my ex-husband, he won him over, But before the marriage, the sign came. The sign was there, which I know happens a lot to many people. And at that age, you think you know so much. He actually had a problem with his family. And I remember he came and the temper started to show. Right. For no reason at all, he hit out at me.
Hit out as in slapped you or anything? Or did he...
He actually took me and shook me up because he was so angry with something that had happened with his mom and the rest of his family. And just as quick as it happened, he realized that he had made a mistake. So he apologized, and then he traveled all the way to the Midlands to apologize to my parents because he knew that we were on the brink of getting married. And
did you have doubts at that point? You're thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't marry him, or were you like, oh, it's just just a one-off, you won't do it again?
It was such a shock to me because I came from that background where my parents, they have disagreement, but I've never seen my father hit out at my mom because in our family that was it. A man does not hit a woman. Yeah. It was as simple as that. and I'd never heard of it happening in our family at all. But I knew the story of his life and his parents. At the time when this was happening, his father was in another country. They were living apart, him and his mother, because his mother and his father, because the father would always had a problem with the mother. He was always abusing her physically.
Why do you feel that you stayed at that point, Barbara? Why do you feel that you thought, I can get over this, you know, we can get over it as a couple, and you wanted to move forward within the marriage?
I think at that time, because he'd asked me to forgive him, and I was looking at the other elements of the relationship, as young as I was, you know, he had the qualities of what I was brought up to be, to believe that he's a good husband.
Yes.
He was, you know, he was a hard worker, he was caring. As it seemed, he had a good sense of humour, which a lot of us women always think is important.
He was charming, basically, wasn't
He was.
Especially when you're
Right.
17.
At 17.
You get swept off your feet, don't you? So you kind of like, you know something's wrong.
Yes.
But at the same time, you think, oh, I love him so much, he's so nice, he's paying me all this attention.
Yeah.
And you ended up marrying him.
Yes, and he was my first, I would say he was my first proper boyfriend, as it were.
How was marriage at the beginning?
It started off fairly well because, you know, we were just focused on building our lives, both having good professions, as it were. We're just really working and focusing. But he was very moody. That was the one thing that stuck out more than anything else. The moods, you could see the mood swings. And I would say to him, your problem started long before you met me. And even though I was saying it at the time, I didn't really have the true understanding of what I was saying. I just knew that something wasn't right, but I didn't know the depth of it.
So how long into the relationship did the violence start then?
3 years in.
3 years?
Yeah. And that...
Sure, why do you think sometimes, I don't know, I don't know if obviously you specialise in this, but a person has obviously got a violent streak, but how come like it takes sometimes like 3 years? Is that person really just trying to control themselves, or they're trying to, what do you think that could be?
I think at that point we're leading up to a nice relationship. You know, you were saying that you were both working very hard, you were both building foundations for the relationship. So, you know, there were outside stresses, but on average, the relationship was good and you were still nicely gelling together. You still had your own outside interests and you were building the relationship.
Yeah.
So it was just going along nicely. And it isn't until there are certain triggers. Possibly Barbara behaved in a way that his mother would have behaved previously without her even realising, bless her, that that's what was happening. And then she would behave like that. He would pick up on that behaviour without realising it, but in his subconsciously, without realising it, he would then go ahead, behave as his father behaved, because it was a natural progression within the family, and that's how, unfortunately, you know, things worked for you.
What happened the first time?
Well, 3 years in fact, what really made the gap, I would say, you know, the crack that really started to break, you know, to cause the whole journey of descent, is that I had what I believed was a close friend. She was also one of our bridesmaids when we got married. And my problem was I wanted to help everyone. So we lived out in the country and, you know, friends would come and visit, stay over the weekend and everything. And she was having problems in her own relationship, engaged, about to be married, but was having problem because she found her partner was cheating on her. So she came to stay for the weekend, and we were there helping her, not realizing that she had an attraction for my husband at the time. And it got really unpleasant. So in the end, I had to say goodbye to what I believed was a good friend. And
of course,
yes,
I've done the same thing.
Yes, and that was when I found that the mistrust started. But there was a point that you made which was really interesting. I've always looked at the pattern of the marriage as in how we are as a man and woman, and is in the same way he was a professional man and I was a professional woman, so was his parents. But the father he was a professional construction a builder in the Caribbean, and the mother was a qualified nurse working here in the UK. So there was a sense of independence, and I know I had that in my character.
Good. Yeah.
You know, I was somebody who was, I was brought up to believe that you just get on with it, you know, as a woman, because you're working to build a life together. So some of the issues were, you know, there was a point where he had a thing about money. So, for example, my income...
Did he ever get violent about that?
He didn't like the fact that at certain points my income was more than his, although we were both professional. So there was that sense of insecurity. Okay. And so, you know, that really, I think, is probably one of the main things that was going wrong.
What would you say was the worst moment in your relationship?
The worst moment was, you know, I was always forgiving. There was, for example, a situation where I decided now that I'm going to leave him, because I got to a point where I'd been forgiving.
Forgiving what, though?
Forgiving him for hitting me. One example was I went to get my hair done. Something very simple. I was getting my hair done, and he wasn't around the day, so I thought I was doing this as a nice surprise for him. And he didn't like the way my hair was done, so that became an issue for him. And he just walked through.
Hit you?
He came to the door, and it was like it was just immediate. He came through, and it was, I didn't discuss it with him, so that was an issue. And that was a point where I said, you know what, I need to get out of this.
It's just a point in there, because it's like you'd already been experiencing violence. She's already been beaten by him and everything, but yet she still felt the need to kind of please him with her...
This constant pleasing.
Yeah, why
you
is
know,
that?
you loved him so much. It's this, you know, I can change this man if I behave in certain ways. I will try and please him.
Yeah. And he had an attitude of saying, you know, he recognized, because he was saying, why am I the one who's taken after my father? This was how he'd see to it. So he knew there was a problem, and he wanted to change, but he didn't know how, and I didn't know how.
So you tried to leave?
I tried to leave, and trying to leave meant that I took a break and went to the Caribbean to visit my grandmother, and he followed me there. And then when I came back, you know, it was like, okay, let's try again. And by then I became pregnant with my son, and at the time he was very happy, because she's not going to leave me now, because she's carrying us, you know, she's carrying our baby, she's pregnant. But it just went downhill after our son came, because the worst moment was when he came home the one day looking for a letter that I knew he'd left in his car. And it was in the driveway, and I knew it was there. And he came into the room, and I realized he was searching for the letter. And he just said, and I just said, but it's in the car. And that's all I said. And he just picked me up, threw me against the wall, and my neck went. I heard the crack, and my spine was, my neck went that way. It constantly went to the left. And by then it was a case of, and he just left. He didn't
just left you there like
he just
that.
left me there. My baby was crying, and he just left me. I was just a heap on the floor. So that was when I said, no, I really need to get out of this. But given the time when this was happening, it wasn't in those days like now, where you could call and the police is going to come and see to all this. Domestic violence wasn't seen like that then. You know, and I remember even my doctor saying to me, you know, give him another chance.
Really?
Yes,
oh my
give
goodness.
him another chance. This was the advice. But that was the worst moment.
Michelle, why do you think women do stay?
I was just about to say, what made you stay for so long? You were, you know, you realised, it was interesting when you turned around and you said, I had my hair done for him, that I was going to surprise him. And you were saying you're a nice, strong woman. Yeah. Why do you feel you weren't doing it for you, and you would keep saying, I'm going to stay, I'm going to persevere? Yeah,
I think the way you're brought up has an influence on your life.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was brought up where I saw my parents together. We didn't have divorce in our family at the time, and I really believed that he would change. I really believed that there was a chance for him to change. But when I saw what was happening there and how he was towards me and also our son, that was when That was when,
So did you feel that you were failing? You were failing within the marriage, and that's how it would be viewed from family, friends? Is that...
Not really. I tell you what, the situation, I remember his mum came to visit.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were speaking with her as the older adult of the family. And she was saying to him, but what is she doing wrong? And he couldn't tell her.
No.
You know, he just couldn't tell her.
But now, no, obviously you got out of the relationship, you moved on, you got counselling.
Yes.
Because we've almost got 1 minute left.
Okay.
The time flies, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, everything turned around, yeah.
Are you ready, would you say you're ready for another relationship? Do you still believe in love, or has that put you off? Like...
No. When I had help, when I received the help, I was able to forgive him, which a lot of people might see as being ridiculous. But I was able to forgive him. I was able to go and let him know that I'd forgiven him. And he respected that, and he understood that as well. It was a relief for him. I also recognized that, you know, okay, you might have arguments and everything like that, but nevertheless, you know, I knew that he was the problem and not every man in the world. Nice. So I believe that my father was right after all of that, and that there is someone there that is suitable for me.
Of course.
You know, so I truly believe in love.
And I think sometimes maybe women stay in relationships as well, not necessarily abusive, but ones that aren't working, because they really think that if I don't have this guy, if it's not him, maybe I'll be alone. And it's like they prefer to be with the wrong person rather than be by themselves. But it's like you're miserable at the end of the day with that, isn't it? Yeah. All right, well, Beverly, thank you so much for sharing your story. And, you know, this is obviously an example of a relationship that you shouldn't stay in. You know, if a person's not willing to get help, first of all, because I do believe people can change, even if they have a violent streak.
Want to change.
But they have to want to change. If they don't want to and you're in danger, then you can't stay in that relationship. It's a no-brainer, really. But unfortunately, women do, because either they're afraid or for other reasons. But that's obviously an example for you. And after the break, we're going to be bringing on a couple that maybe, you know, people would say, oh, they wouldn't have know where they would have stayed together, but they actually managed to turn things around. So they'll be joining us after the break. Beverly, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And all the best for the future. And I'm sure invite us to your wedding when you're going to have it. All right, we'll see you after the break.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Hey, welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, where we're speaking about things to consider if you are actually thinking of leaving your spouse. So obviously you saw before the break Beverly's story. She was in a very, very abusive relationship, and it's, you know, that kind of relationship, you know, even though you've tried to turn things around, if it's not working, that's dangerous to you. So definitely I would say, you know, you should leave in that case. And also, if we were talking about earlier with Michelle here, if the person isn't willing to change as well, like you're doing everything you can do, maybe you've suggested to your partner, you know, let's go for counselling, let's go for couples counselling, let's get help, and they don't want to budge, and you're in this miserable relationship, I personally wouldn't stay. I'm not telling you what to do or anything, but me personally, if I see the other person isn't willing to change, Michelle, I wouldn't stay, because with my partner, I had terrible problems with my partner. But he was willing to change, and so was I. So we worked on it together. But I think if he hadn't really shown any interest in doing that, I probably wouldn't have stayed in the relationship.
Yeah. You have to both want to work at it. There have to be nice foundations, and you think, right, this is how we're going to work at it together. Yeah. And obviously through therapy and open communication. Yeah. Communication is the key to all of this. To really being able to sit and have a conversation together,
which was very hard at first, but we got there. We got there in the end.
Hard for so many couples. I hear it all the time, and it's when they come into therapy that all of a sudden they start to blossom, and their relationships blossom. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so another talk about a relationship that blossomed. Finally, we have Tony and Moira here. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So I know you're very loved up right now, but things weren't like that before, were they? Well, actually, it started off good in your relationship, right?
Yes.
So happily married, going out together, everything was going well. But then something happened, didn't it?
Yeah.
Moira, you want to tell us about that?
In 2010, after 23 years of marriage, we both had affairs, and obviously the marriage disintegrated.
But why did that, if you were happy at the beginning, what happened
within our house, we had family staying over from Mauritius loads of times, and we wasn't getting on together.
When you say staying over, how long were they
like
stay?
not just for a week or so, like for 2 years, 3 years, staying within, and then our relationship.
That's not staying over. That's living with you.
So what was happening? It was my family that was staying over, and they came over. They stayed with us for that amount of time, and me and Tony were like drifting apart. I was taking the side of my family, and he was saying this can't be happening. I was going, but he's my brother. We need him. He needs somewhere to stay. We need to have him to stay in. So he stayed, and we were like drifting apart, not even properly realising it. So we were drifting and drifting.
Is that something quite common with family, Michelle?
It is, yes, it's very common. I do hear this, where outside influences, may it be work stresses or family stress, that when you bring the family together, we do tend to go with our siblings if there's something slightly wrong with the relationship. And once, as I said just now, if you're not communicating well with your partner, then you will easily, side with your siblings, and it does create problems.
I think it can happen quite easily without sort of realising at first, because it's something that's very gradual, maybe, and maybe you're kind of feeling a bit lonely at times. But did you ever try to talk to him about it?
No, to be honest with you, no, I didn't.
Did you try to talk to him more about it, or were you just like?
It was just I left it like as if it's a family issue, between her family and her. I just accepted it, but it did cross my mind after a while. So like, this is going to be happening, because we wasn't like no longer a husband and wife. We became like distance from each other. And also we have a lot of arguments or problem issue. Little things will turn into an argument. Simple things, It's like going
Sorry,
shopping.
can I ask, you weren't sleeping together, or
no? That
or you
come like
completely distant.
No, it was like that would happen when it take place.
But it wasn't like before.
It wasn't like
when
there was no, there was no
Okay.
like the fire, there was not like the passion at the first time, the honeymoon type of thing.
It's kind of hard to be passionate when you've got a house full of
Yeah,
family
exactly,
members.
yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, because I'll be like a few times I was like coming from work, and if it's summer, she'll get like the barbecue out, and I'm coming, I'm seeing this. All I want to do is come home and
Be with your wife.
just chill out with something, and then I said I couldn't watch my favorite, like my favorite program. I couldn't watch, and that kind of thing goes into that, takes in, and I don't want to upset her, make a scene, so I would bottle all this inside. I was ready to explode, like a champagne bottle. It was the fizz to come out, and like I said, I just started to go shopping. It was like, do we have to do that? And then I was like buying things out of, out of our reach. Like say we spend such and such money, it'd be double the amount, because we're feeding.
Yeah. So obviously it impacted everything, your finances, everything. So when did was it you that?
Well, it was me that drifted from Tony.
What happened?
What was happening at home, because he wasn't paying me attention, and I was getting it from somebody else.
Someone else come on the scene now, paying you the attention that your husband wasn't.
And talking to me and making me feel good, like good.
Ladies, beware of that, right? Anyone,
and
he had people know when there's something going on, especially like if you're in your workplace and then you start talking. Oh, my husband's not paying much attention. Guaranteed, some guy's listening. He's going to start coming over and flirting and say, "Oh, I wouldn't do that to you. If you were my wife, if you were my girl, then I wouldn't treat you like that." That happens because people here, they're not stupid. There's like it's like easy prey, really.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
That's right, Chris. That's what actually happened. There was a guy and he was just paying me attention. I fell for it like an idiot, I fell for it. And because of what was happening at home, I just, it was a one-night thing, and then we just, and then that was it.
And you told Tony about that?
I did, Eventually he found out
I can't find out myself.
This is really a big story, because he found out from his betrayal, the woman that betrayed me, who was my best friend, and his best friend, that went off with him. But she was the one.
It happened with you first, then you found out. Then what? How did you feel? How did you react to that?
My reaction first of all, like when I first found out, once she said she was going to go out, and I said okay. Then she wasn't going to go out first. She said no, I have to go. I said go. Her friend's going to be there. I said okay, go. We had people in our house, so it'd be good to go while get, take your hair down and take a break, And I just left it like that. So I dropped her to this nightclub in Camden Town, And I went home and do what I have to do. I thought, oh, you know, I'm going to do. And this is amazing because I said, I'm going to dress up and pick her up at 11 o'clock and then go out somewhere and have a drink. So I got to this place. I'm waiting and waiting. I was there for about 2 or 3 hours. I'm texting everything. What's this woman's not? You know, I thought nothing of it. And then she came and she goes, oh, give me a story. And I left it like that. Then when I found out from my friend of mine, and that's when I revolted. And I thought, this is not on. Okay, I wasn't paying attention, but the thing is, I'm still your husband, you know? And I should have left her that day. I should have left her now and then because it's gone beyond. I said, no, I'm going to stick this out another, you know, as much as I can.
So you tried, so you were obviously heartbroken at what happened.
And then she done the same thing again to me with the same person. That's when I found out. They said to me, they see what's happening. Open your eyes. But then, you know, like sometimes when you listen to too many things from other people, mistake can happen.
Moira, when it happened the first time, didn't that sort of kind of open your eyes and think, hang on, I'm destroying my marriage here, but then why?
Yeah, but to be honest with you, Chris, nothing happened that night. He thought something happened.
Oh, okay.
This is the second night happened. I was only in the club with that guy.
Okay,
nothing happened. That was the first time that, you know, nothing happened because we were colleagues at work.
Okay.
He was just talking to me.
So did that when you found out that, was it like a wake-up call for you and you're thinking, okay, now I've got to do something about it. I was really scared when I knew he found out, you know, and I was really, you know, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't want my marriage to break up, even though I know I did. You still loved him, right?
Yeah, of course I did. I don't know why I was doing this. I was doing it because he wasn't paying me attention. I know it's a stupid
why do
excuse.
people do that when they love their partner? Why do they still?
It is lack of attention, and they are actually crying out for that attention. And it's also that they don't recognise that, you know, they've just actually drawn apart. They've grown apart as people purely because of outside influences, i.e. family and everything. So you tend to go your separate way. And it's interesting that we both have to take responsibility for each other's affairs. It's very difficult when people come into therapy and they say, you know, my husband's had an affair, and you have to say, well, what part did you play in that? And to try and recognise that.
That's hard to face, that, isn't it?
It's so difficult to face.
It wasn't my fault, he's the one that went and did that, whatever, but we do.
If you can face it, then this is possibly the outcome, because you face it, work through it.
Yeah.
This
and
is what I've never
together.
done. I've never sort of said, this is Tony's fault. At the back of my mind, it's always been my fault as well. I never sort of...
It was also like, you know, another thing is it could destroy the marriage, because one try to blame the other. It's not my fault, it's your fault. It was like you started it first. But the thing is, you're both at fault because you both did the wrong.
Yeah.
You with me? Because if you find true love in the beginning, you should never depart it. Because things happen.
So obviously, whatever you were doing at the beginning, you weren't doing
in
the relationship.
So something
afterwards.
was wrong, okay? So, you're like playing tick for tack, in other words. You know, I'm pointing fingers at you and that.
And affairs happen because there is something wrong within the relationship, you know, because otherwise, you know, you would be just working along.
You wouldn't dare risk with it. You would not throw your relationship down the drain.
And also the lack of intimacy. We all need, you know, strokes, either psychologically or, you know, intimate strokes. And I'm not saying sexual, but just that closeness with another human being.
Yeah.
It's very
as well.
important.
We've got a special needs son who we devote our time to him as well.
Yes.
I'm not saying he's separated, but that is a point to put in our relationship, because we devoted our time, both of us. Exactly.
What I love is like, instead of putting ourselves first, it was him first. Everything in him. And because he's very close to me as well, so I intend to, so like whatever he did, you know, like, and she would say, oh, Marlon, that's his name, and I always said, oh, leave him alone. So I wasn't siding with her.
Right.
So
you weren't working together.
Yeah. So I was just taking, and now I understand, because we got counselling, and now I understand, because my wife should have been my priority, because the child, you know, I should have teach him right from wrong. So although he was doing wrong, I would say it's okay, you know, he's special need. And obviously,
Tony, what happened with you then?
With me,
we've
and
got about 3 minutes left.
Yeah,
I'm giving everyone a countdown so we can.
So with me, after like, you know, this happened, and I started to comfort this lady, and she, you know, I started to lean on her shoulder.
Did you only do that because of what?
No. I literally I felt like there was nothing left to save. So I wanted to be loved. You know, I wanted to be loved, like you mentioned, like to be caressed. That's how I wanted. I wanted to be, feel a warm of a woman next to me. So I went for that, which I thought was good. But then I realized after a while, it's not what I wanted. And I realized I could still salvage something for my marriage. Because I was seeing her every day because of my social nature. I was there from 7 o'clock in the morning and in the evening. And I said, this is not on. I could do something there. Only I can change the situation. I can rebuild my marriage, but I need to make my wife trust me again. Because once that trust is gone,
you need to trust each other.
Once the trust is
so
out the
this is
window.
a lot of couples. Then they can't sort of do this, and unless through counselling and stuff, things can change. But sometimes I can't trust my husband or my wife again. That's it now.
But it's learning that understanding again, to have understanding with each other, and learning and saying, right, what are the foundations we're building this relationship on now? This is a new relationship. Yeah, we've made our mistakes. We understand them because hopefully we work through them. And then what foundations? And that's the important thing.
Yeah, that was a key point.
How's the relationship today?
No, it's wonderful. It's we went out Saturday we went out and because I like Mexican food, now she started to like it now, and we have make a vow with each other now. We say twice a month we'll go out, just me and her, not the children, but then 3 times a month we'll take the boys out with us. But then we'll spend more time together, and I start to do like shopping. I will go with her a bit more now, push the trolley like a good gentleman do, open the door.
Because we're more open to each other now, more trustworthy, no more. We've got trust in each other more now than ever.
That's what we had to do. That's what we've done. We had to get that trust back in, and we started. We want to, and one thing as well is very important as well, is to never, never, never dwell on yesterdays.
It's a
Forget
new
about
start.
that. Yes.
You look really happy. I mean, you've got a cute smile on your face. You look very sweet together. And this is a thing, like sometimes there are outside things that affect relationships. Not that the couple's not meant to be together or they're not compatible. It's just other things have got in the way, or they haven't sort of invested in their relationship enough. But this is proof that, you need to check with yourself, examine yourself and see, have I done everything that I can? Have I spent time with my spouse? Is the problem me? You need to look at all of these things and not just say, oh, that's it, I'm just going to give up. Because sometimes I think people give up too easily nowadays on relationships. So this is proof that things can work out.
Sorry, we just celebrate 26 years of marriage last August.
26 anniversary.
Thank you.
All right, well, we have reached the time for a break, and we did have an email from Amelia, but we're going to read those after the break as well. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your inspiring story.
Thank you.
Michelle, thank you so much as well for your professional insight as well. And we'll be back after this break. We're going to be featuring a really nice place to visit. We have a dilemma from a reader as well, and also we'll be featuring a good call, so stay tuned. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show. And now we're going to show a nice place to visit, which is completely free, and it's also actually a registered charity. So take a look at this. I'm here with Emily from the Golders Hill Park Zoo, and she's going to tell us a bit about what they do here. Hi, Emily. It's a lovely place. I see you've got, what's this donkey called?
This is Calypso.
One behind us as well.
Yep, she's called Sienna and she's Calypso's mum.
Okay, so how long has this actually been here?
We've had animals here since 1905. We got deer first, and then since then we've always had deer at the park, but we've also had a range of different species as well. We've got 77 animals in total at the moment.
What's the most popular one here?
Probably the lemurs, actually.
What are these things over here? I've never seen them before.
They're called Patagonian Mara. They're South American rodents. They're most closely related to guinea pigs.
They're quite cute, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a bit strange looking, but everybody seems to like them.
Apart from the lovely surroundings we're in, what's special about this zoo?
Well, I suppose what makes the zoo different from others is that it's free. You just come into the park and walk around the zoo, which is great for people if they don't really want to spend the entire day and a lot of money.
Hello, you. Ooh.
the cutest things I've ever seen. Look at them, they're like little men.
When did it first start, the animal adoption scheme?
It went live from the 14th of April 2011. We had some budgetary cuts to the park, and we were trying to sort of find new ways which we'd be able to keep financing the zoo here. So the zoo ethics meeting, they raised the idea of an adoption scheme which other zoos do have.
When people come here to visit the zoo, do they then sort of pick animals that they want to adopt?
Yeah, I think obviously the first part of it would be coming down and finding out what animal you'd want to adopt. There's lots of literature here and people here who can help you find out more about those animals.
Here we are in the butterfly house, and as you can see, it's quite steamy in here. There's lots of beautiful little butterflies. So how can people find out more about the adoption scheme?
They can visit the City of London website and go through the links to open spaces in Golders Hill Park, or they can come down here and get some literature here from the zoo, speak to any of us here at the park. We can always help.
Thanks so much for showing us around and for all the information and everything. It was a really great day.
No worries, glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, hope to see you all down here soon. Thanks a lot.
Really nice people then, really lovely place to visit, and the park's absolutely lovely as well, and it's all free of charge, so you know, take a look. But we have also every Monday we actually feature a What Would Chrissy Do, and this is the part where maybe you're facing a dilemma or something, and then you know you'd like to know what I would do in your situation. Like I keep saying, I'm not an expert, but I have been through a few things in life. I can give you my opinion. So Amelia's going to read the email that we received.
Yes, Chrissy, we have a question here from one of our viewers. I've been with my husband for 5 years, and if I'm honest, things have been very bad. I was in a hurry to get married because I was already 30 years old and anxious to have kids. The ironic thing is, I failed to get pregnant throughout these 5 years. I thought I'll be able to change him after getting married, but things were so bad now that he's not able to change. He's moody, verbally abusive, and has told me he's moody, verbally abusive, and has told me he's sick of my face. We don't even sleep in the same room anymore. I'm pretty sure he's been seeing someone else. It's been awful. I've suggested couples counselling, but he's refused. So I've been going on my own, trying to work on myself for a long time now, but I'm not getting anything back from him. He now says he wants a divorce. The thought of starting all over again terrifies me. What would you do, Chrissy?
All right, so I mean, I've jotted down a few things here. Now, the first thing that stuck out for me is I believe you got married for the wrong reason. Wouldn't you agree, Michelle? Because you said, you know, you were already 30 and, you know, you wanted to have children. A lot of women make this mistake. They think that, well, I've reached a certain age now. If I don't meet someone and settle down and have kids, that's going to be it for me. But the thing is, this is not a reason to get married to someone, is to have children. You need to make sure you're with the right person in the first place. So, I mean, obviously, there's nothing you can do about that now. You're already in the relationship, but, you know, in the future, this is something that, and for people, other people watching, never get married or never get together with someone just because you're getting older and you want to have kids. Sometimes it's better not to have kids and end up with someone that's, you know, completely wrong for you, and then you're miserable, and the kids, it's going to impact the children as well. Another thing is that I think, you know, people that I've spoken to, and I don't know if you agree as well, Michelle, people generally, like if someone's like, for example, abusive at the beginning, they generally don't get better afterwards. They tend to get worse because it's like they're on their best behaviour when, you know, when you're going out with them, when you're seeing them. So unless they want to get help, as we said before, they normally end up worse, as what happened with Beverly and her husband. Wouldn't you agree?
Unless you're both willing to actually change and recognise even what you may be doing wrong within the relationship as well, and both wish to really work to it, it's not going to be good ending, unfortunately.
Now, our friend that sent the email, I mean, it seems that you're doing your part because you've suggested to him, you know, let's go for counselling, let's try something. He's said no, he's refusing, he's saying all horrible things to you. So in that case, like you've shown, you know, I think you've done everything that you can in this relationship. If you are indeed changing, you're taking on the advice of your counsellor and things aren't changing, then for me personally, if I were in your shoes, I would consider moving on, because it's obviously the wrong person in the first place. And the thing is, you say that it's like you're terrified of moving on because you don't know if you're going to, you know, how things are going to be in the future. You don't want to be alone, but don't be afraid of starting a new relationship. It doesn't mean that because this one's gone wrong, that you know the next one will go wrong as well. If as I say, if you take your time, make sure the person's compatible, you know, you're getting along well, you're with the person for the right reasons, not because you want to rush and have children, then there's no reason why it shouldn't work out. So don't be afraid of meeting someone. You value yourself. You know, this time, make sure that you're with the person for the right reasons, and don't let this this situation destroy your confidence, because you are special. There is someone that's very compatible for you out there, and that's what I would do in your situation. I don't know if if you have a different point on it.
Yeah, she will know when the right time, you know, through her therapy, she will know, and she'll grow as a person, and she'll slowly flourish into the woman that she really wants to be. And she will get that strength to move forward. And it will be that new person who's confident and, you know, encouraging and loving to other people, that she will, you know, really have a super relationship eventually.
I have a friend that got married to someone. He wasn't horrible to her or anything, but she got married for the wrong reasons as well. And because it was the first guy that come up to her, and she came from this traditional family where, you know, you only marry your first boyfriend, and she didn't make sure he was the right one, and there were obvious differences, but she went ahead and married him anyway. And then, like, they weren't getting along. He wasn't abusive or anything, but he just up and left, and she was really, like, depressed. She's like, her whole life she thought her whole life was a mess now. There wouldn't be anyone else. But then actually, eventually she got over that. She got counselling for it, and she met someone else, and the change in her is just amazing. Seeing the contrast of when you're with the wrong person and when you're with the right person. And she went for a time where she, you know, no makeup, you know, everything's a mess, didn't make an effort with herself, lost her self-confidence. But then one day it's like she woke up and said, you know what, that's it, I'm going to start investing in myself. Started valuing herself, started to gain that confidence
building
back.
That self-esteem.
She just blossomed. She met this other guy, and now, like, she's so happy. And so it is possible, even if you're in a relationship, it's not going well, even if you've broken up and you think, oh God, there's no point anymore, my life's over. It's not. You can always get help. You can always rebuild your confidence. And, you know, things can work out for you.
Definitely.
Do you get that a lot?
And getting married for the right reasons, and not just because of an age or because, you know, you're so far down. What I hear a lot is that, well, we were so far down, you know, the arrangements and everything else, and we were push, we couldn't get out of it. It was too late. So couples that realise that, you know, they're not compatible. Okay. You know, that's very, very common, unfortunately. And, you know, she saw signs, bless her, even before the marriage. So.
There's someone out there for you, I'm sure.
Definitely someone out there. Definitely.
All right, so we're just going to go to our competition now, Michelle, to give our viewers a chance to win a delicious 3-course meal for 2 at any Little Bay restaurant. Now, this video is the one of the Little Bay in Farringdon branch, and I think the portions are really big, so if you like big portions, you might want to enter this competition. So for your chance to win, you just need to answer this question: what did I have for my main meal? Take a look at this. Today we're visiting the Little Bay restaurant in Farringdon, which is a mix of European and Mediterranean food. Barbara's inside waiting for me as usual, so let's go inside and check out the food.
Oh wow, that looks lovely, thank you. Thank you.
Have you ever seen crab meat profiteroles? The first time I've ever seen them or going to try them, normally used to having chocolate profiteroles. These are really, really yummy.
avocado and prawn cocktail, but it's got salsa around it. It's in a nice little cute parcel.
Oh my gosh, that's massive, Barbara.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Thank you. That looks lovely.
This is ribeye steak, and then I've got chips which are cooked in goose fat, and I've got some lovely veggies here. I'm not quite sure what that is. That must be potato. Okay. Yum.
I've got the duck breast in ginger sauce, and I've got the braised cabbage and some butternut squash as well. Now, one thing I love are big portions.
Yes.
But these are really big portions, which is really good if you have a big appetite.
These potatoes were absolutely amazing. I don't know what they did to them to make them different, but they were beautiful. Really, really got a lot of flavour. And it's cooked in something. It's got like an outer coating to it.
Okay, so did you get the right answer? What did I have for my main meal? You can email your answer to chris@chrissybshow.tv. You can also visit the website, the competition's on there with a link to the video, and that's chrissybshow.tv. And also the Facebook page of the competition's there as well, The Chrissy B Show, and then we'll be letting you know who won the competition. If you don't enter, you won't have a chance to win, okay? So we have reached the end of our programme, but Wednesday's show is titled No Bones About It, and we will be talking about the fuller figured woman with lots of great tips, including clothes, makeup and exercise, so don't miss it. So Michelle, thank you so much for all your input tonight. It's been great.
Thank you very much.
Your advice, and we'll see you again on Wednesday. Bye-bye for now.
So whistling ducks, do they actually whistle then?
Yeah, they literally whistle. That's why they're called whistling ducks. Yeah.
Yeah, they whistle.
They give a little whistle.
Tell us a bit about this place. Hi, Emily.
Hey.
How are you?
Right, how are you?
And who's this down here? Trying to eat my
Calypso,
jacket.
one of our donkeys.
This is Calypso. Okay.
The younger one.
She's trying to eat my back.
2, 1.
Hi, I'm here with Emily from the Golders Hill Park. Oh, hold on a minute. Right. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm here. Sorry. She's coming again.
Wait.
Doesn't look like she's crunching it. Oh no, she's...
Okay, don't worry. I like that bit.
What happened?
Okay, let me do my jacket up. She's trying to take my necklace.
Okay.
You owe me a necklace, young lady.
She's like, oh, make me.